everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing Radiant Black #1. This is a comic that just came out last Wednesday. It's a brand new #1 from Image Comics, and it's their first superhero comic that they've published in a while. So this issue has a price of $4 and it's 32 pages, so that's just the standard comic book numbers. As for the creative team, we've got Kyle Higgins on the writing. He had a run of Power Rangers that just wrapped up, and for Marvel, he's doing Ultraman comics right now, and he also had a Winter Soldier series that I think kind of went under the radar, but I liked that. And then the art in this issue is by Marcelo Costa. So I actually really enjoyed the art. It's like this kind of cartoonish, but sometimes more realistic art style. It really reminded me of Ryan Ottley's art in Invincible. And he does the pencils and colors all himself, so it's cool to see artists doing everything themselves, and the art is still great. Just so you know, before I get into this comic, this is a spoiler review, so I'm going to be going over all the stuff that happens in it, and just giving a general overview and then my opinion on it. So our main character in this story is Nathan Burnett, and he's been doing work for like different magazines and kind of low-level jobs, but he has this book that he thinks has some good potential that could definitely blow up and get him recognized as like a big writer. But until then, he's definitely been having trouble financially, and this comic opens with this view of his bank account, and he's on a call with the bank trying to get another loan, but he's been getting too many, and he's about $40,000 in debt, which is not good. He's definitely in a bad place, and the bank is just telling him that he can't take out any more loans until he has like a steady income coming in that can show that he's going to eventually end up repaying these loans, right? And he starts crying, and then it gets revealed that he's actually like an Uber driver. It's not specifically called Uber, but whatever this universe's equivalent of that is. These people come into the car and they're like, oh, is this a bad time? We could definitely call another one if you need. So that was funny. I guess he's trying to get some money just by driving people around. His only choice is to move back home to his parents, who are accepting. His mom is glad to have him back and is like looking on the bright side, saying that he can write from anywhere, so why not have him home again? So as they're unpacking his boxes and he's talking with his parents, Nathan's old childhood friend, whose name is Marshall, comes over and like starts talking to him. Marshall is excited that he's back. He has a bunch of plans. They're gonna have fun together, and Marshall will help him write his book, which Nathan is like kind of skeptical about. But they need to catch up, so that night they go to a bar just to talk to each other. And Marshall is trying his very best to get Nathan's spirits up. So eventually they leave the bar, but before they're able to get into their car, Marshall notices that there's this like shimmering small black hole that's hovering a few feet away, just hovering above these train tracks. And they go over to examine it, and Marshall's like looking around it, and he's like, oh, it looks the same from all sides. It doesn't look different from any other angles. And Nathan is really curious, so he reaches out to touch it, and then it like engulfs his hand and then morphs around his body and forms this suit around him. Now we see his superhero suit for the first time. As you can also see here on the cover, this is his suit, and it looks really cool. I like the pretty simple design and the cool black hole logo on his chest. Before they can figure out what's going on, these two police officers come onto the tracks, and they're telling Nathan and Marshall to get off because these are private tracks. But then Marshall starts arguing with the police officers. He's trying to stand up for them and saying that it's not the police officers' jobs to get them off these tracks. It's the people who own the tracks' job. And Nathan is just trying to get him to stop arguing so that they can just get away. And they're also trying to cover up the fact that he's in a costume for some reason. They're like pretending he's a cosplayer or something at the same time. So it's getting pretty chaotic. And just to add to all that chaos, there's this train coming quickly down the tracks, and Marshall is still arguing, refusing to get off the track, which is really dumb because he's about to get hit by a train. The officers and Nathan are just pleading him to get off at this point because nobody wants him to get hit. But before the train is able to hit anybody, suddenly Nathan is able to use his new powers to levitate the train over them, and then he puts the train down on the other side before it can harm anyone. He also levitates the officers, and then they make a deal with them that they'll put them down as long as they don't get arrested. They put down the officers, and then Nathan grabs Marshall's and they fly away. So now we know that Nathan has like levitating powers, sort of like the Force, and he's able to fly. So he's pretty powerful. We'll probably see more of some different powers later in this series also. So I really liked when they were flying away. That panel felt like an Invincible homage. I don't know if that was intentional, but that was a lot like in the Invincible series, another superhero series from Image, when the main character of that comic takes his friend William to fly. After flying for a bit, they sat down on a water tower in a different part of the town, and they talk about what had just happened. Nathan says that he doesn't know how he was able to use his power. He just reacted and then it happened. And it seems like he is able to control his powers with his mind. That's definitely different than a lot of other superhero comics. That's pretty much where we leave off with those main characters. But then we get this 2-page sequence of things to come at the very end. We see someone exploding out of a bank holding huge bags of money. And it's this robber dressed in a costume pretty much identical except for like a red color change as Nathan's costume. I'm not saying Radiant Black yet because I'm not sure if that's just the name of the comic or if it's actually going to be Nathan's superhero name. But he didn't get that name in this issue, so for now I'm just calling him Nathan. But it seems like this person busting out of this bank is going to be our main villain for now. We'll probably find out more about them next issue. Who knows how they got their powers, but it's kind of like a reverse version of Nathan's costume. Then finally at the end we also get a letters page where the writer Kyle Higgins just talks about like his experience with this comic and how it came to be, which is called Blackmail, which I thought was a great name. It's a good pun, I guess. So yeah, that's basically the overview of the issue. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a great issue. The art was really good, and the writing too. The artist Marcelo Costa, as I said, he did the pencils and colors all himself, which I thought was great for this comic. I especially liked the colors in this issue. They used like light reflecting onto the characters in a really cool way. And then for the writing, as you know now, like half of this issue didn't have any superhero action in it. It was just Nathan dealing with his debt and like moving back to his hometown. Sounds pretty boring, but it was great because the dialogue was well written and there was like funny banter throughout. So I'm actually giving this a solid 10 out of 10 because there was no part of this comic that I didn't like, so that definitely deserves a 10 out of 10. And I love this cover by Michael Cho. This is just the main cover, and I like how it's pretty simple looking and almost 2D, but the colors are really popping and vibrant. So now you know that I personally really enjoyed this issue, but let me know what you thought of it down in the comment section below. I'd love to talk to you about it. I highly recommend this if you haven't gotten it already. Go down to your local comic shop and look for a copy of this. If it's sold out, I'm sure they're going to do a second print at some point because this is a big release. Okay, before this video wraps up, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below if you enjoyed this video. You can also hit the notifications bell and you'll be notified every single time I post a new video if you don't want to miss any. So I'll sign off for now. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Bye.